Hi, I'm Spyder and I'm back. It's 2019, we're at Spyder's web. There's lots more ahead, there's a lot more to be said. On Spyder's CFL Redzone Rule YouTube session number 9. It's time. Hey! 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 Spyder's CFL Redzone Rule, it's real cool. Hey! And a real jewel. And a high-powered offensive tool. That's a super exciting new CFL rule. In the red zone. Not the dead zone. And not old school. Rosie, you're the big fool. Cause Spyder's CFL Redzone Rule, it's real cool. And a real jewel. That rules. That rules. That rules. Spyder's CFL Redzone Rule, it's real cool. That rules. And a real jewel. That rules. And it's real cool. That rules. And a real jewel. That rules. Hey! Hit it! It's great to have you all here. Sorry there's not enough cheers. Hit it! We'll make it up with beer. And how about a schooner beer? Hit it! Spyder's CFL Redzone Rule football fans will admire. And yes, they will desire. Their light our through down game on fire. But the CFL needs to acquire. Make our 3-down game skyrocket. TV ratings go much higher. Their light our 3-down game on fire. Hey! Spyder, here comes Spyder's CFL's Red Zone Rule. Hey! Okay, I want to hear everybody in Touchdown Atlantic and Halifax, hopefully, and the 100th Grade Cup in Calgary, chanting loud the Red Zone. Want to hear you. You can make a difference. You can be heard. And your voice can be heard. Chanting loud across Canada and across the football world. Want to hear you loud in the red zone chanting, we want Spyder's CFL's Red Zone Rule. Spyder, here comes Spyder's CFL's Red Zone Rule. Hey! Spyder, here comes Spyder's CFL's Red Zone Rule. Hey! Wow, that was hard. Talk about hard being jammed up here. I got inches to move Okay? I never played a guitar like that in my life, okay? Don't be too hard on me, okay? Let's get into the session. That was, okay? I just wanted to say, we'll change the graphic here. Oh, maybe we will. Maybe we'll keep it there, okay? It's appropriate for this session. In my last session, okay, I said 107th, sorry, I wish I would have, 117th, 2017 Grey Cup, getting my sevens mixed up. I should have said the 107th Grey Cup in Calgary, sorry about that. And when I was talking with Mr. Lawless, okay, you know, I said, when he said, how does it help the CFL, top CFL players and actually top Canadian players go into the NFL? Well, it doesn't, okay? And I said, go in the CFL, I said, go in the NFL, okay? And I don't want to say okay anymore. I'm sorry, I'm trying to curve that. It's a real habit. I noticed last time I said I was going to try really hard, I knew the problem, and I'm still doing it. Okay, but it's what's important is what between my okays, okay? All right? And what else did I miss here, okay? Make sure you watch, by the way, part 1, part 2, part 3 first. My part 1 on my intro and how I come up with my CFL Redzone rule, part 2, the presentation itself I made to the CFL and the commissioner of the CFL on January 31st of 2018, and then part 3, the result, their decision and the conclusion, okay? And then part, of course, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, now part 9. Okay, and we're going to have an important announcement at the end of the session too. Okay, remind me. And how are you doing out there? Okay? All right, let's get started here, okay? I just want to say something, okay? That I'm not out for retribution or anything, or revenge against Mr. Ambrosi, okay? I get a little wired up and I get fired up, and yes, yes, you know, a little pissed off, right? I think you would be too. And, you know, I don't want also you to be sympathetic towards me, like either, you know, like that's not what this is about. What I did my survey for was to find out why so many, and it's true, overwhelmingly in Canada, so many so-called Canadians, I call them, you know, well, maybe they have a reason why they're watching NFL a lot more than the CFL in their own country, okay? And I did that survey to find out why. And what I come up with my CFL Redzone rule, okay? And yes, the Canadian ratio was a big complaint, but the biggest complaint with the CFL, within the CFL 3-down game itself, was too much kicking, too many field goals for points, you know, for most of the points in the CFL game, and magnified second down stops, or 2-and-out second down stops in the red zone, resulting in easy chip shot field goals. Those were the two biggest, actually the biggest killer in the red zone. Biggest killer and the biggest turnovers of a 3-down game I found in my CFL Redzone rule. With my CFL Redzone rule, completely eliminate second down stops in the red zone and more boring, non-eventful, easy chip shot field goals in the red zone that no football fan wants to see, especially in a 3-down game. So that's what my CFL Redzone rule. And by the way, you need a combo because you need the best available players to start and play in the CFL. And it's time. It's 2019, like in my song. Okay? Spyder, Spyder, here comes Spyder's CFL Redzone rule. Okay? And for 2020, let's make it happen out there. We can do it. I want to hear you loud, chanting in the red zone. We want Spyder's CFL Redzone rule. Okay, so we gotta move on here. And some of the things I want to talk about, just to wrap up on some things. Okay, I hope I didn't miss any points that I wanted to go over again. Okay, oh yeah, when I was talking about something very important about Randy Ambrosi, right? And I'm saying that, you know, Mark Cohn is Canadian, and I'm Canadian, you know, and I meant to say CFL fans and not CFL players, even though I know they're Canadian. Got to respect that in the CFL. But I wanted to actually say CFL fans, because I don't respect the Canadian Players Association, made up of carefully selected, guaranteed ratio old linemen, okay, and Canadian players. They're making up our Canadian Players Association and dictating who starts and plays in the CFL. I have no respect for that. And like I get into in my last session. So I have more respect for CFL fans. And by the way, commissioners of the CFL, players in the CFL, coaches, okay, CFL, they all go, okay? They all go. They come and go, okay? And they go to the NFL too, regularly. And you know what? What's most important is the CFL fan and our three-dog game, okay? And that's why my CFL Red Zone role is so important, okay? To be made part of a CFL three-dog game. So let's get into this, okay? Basically the owners, they got to stand tall, okay? You got to be united, okay? Together, you CFL owners, and stand tall, and don't you fall, and you stand up to the Canadian Players Association and keeping the guaranteed Canadian alignment. And Ambrosi, who was one of them, who fought against the CFL, okay, to stop the Canadian race. Can you imagine, okay? You know what? Every other professional sports league allows the best available players starting to play, okay, in their professional sports league. Are you going to be a player? The CFL? What are you going to be? An old boys club, you know, amateur football league or feeder league for the NFL? What's going on here? If you want to be a player, okay, and you want to make a mark and be a player and be on the map, okay, in the highly competitive sports world today, you got to allow the best available players to start and play at every position for an entire CFL game. Get it? And if you don't, you're going to continue to go down the tube and keep losing more and more CFL fans, more and more season ticket holders, and they're going to be walking away in droves and losing more and more viewers like you did in the Grey Cup last year, okay, 106th Grey Cup, okay, in Edmonton, okay? So that's the reality, and those are the real facts, okay? Okay, so the CFL owners, you gotta be and get the American players to join up with you, and Nick Lewis, okay, and threaten to fold your franchise if you're now allowed to play and start the best available players. Like someone said on the CFL.ca, says, you know, maybe have a small Canadian roster ratio, okay, like MLS Soccer has in their Canadian teams, but he says there's no way that coaches got to decide who starts and plays on the field in a CFL game. You're supposed to be a professional football league, okay, the CFL, okay, and he's right, big time he's right, big time, okay. Okay, I want to talk, okay, and I want to talk also what Brandon, Mr. McGuire said, his last words on sports, Brendan McGuire, sorry, wasn't pronounced that right, on the sports cage in Regina, okay, recently, okay, said, without top American quarterbacks and top American players and top American defensive players and top American players in other positions in the CFL wouldn't even exist today. And he is so right, okay? And I also heard something, by the way, I'll add this, and if the top Canadian players want to go to the NFL, go, but don't at the same time want to control and run the CFL with your Control and Players Association keeping, and Ambrosi, our commissioner. He's more like a commissioner for the Canadian Players Association than he is for the CFL, okay? So, yeah, controlling and with your handcuffing, dictating guaranteed Canadian starter huge and guaranteed Canadian roster ratios, and that's what you're doing, okay? And preventing the CFL teams from recruiting the best available players from starting and playing at every position for an entire CFL game. If you want to go to the NFL, go, but don't be doing the other, okay? You know, the CFL's got to be, and the owners and the CFL fans, we're the ones that got to be running the CFL, not the players, Canadian Players Association, and the Canadian players are made up of all Canadian players. Actually, the only true Canadian star player that I can recall is John Cornish, who really wanted to play in the CFL and not the NFL, who didn't pursue the NFL like other CFL players are doing and have done. Okay? The only way the Canadian football player and the CFL is going to be really respected and the CFL 3-down football really supported in our country is if our if other Canadian players like John Cornish wants to actually play in the CFL and not the NFL, and who actually can play and actually make a CFL team, who deserves to make a CFL team, okay, and earns it to start and play in the CFL and to make a CFL roster, and not because of the Canadian passport, the guaranteed Canadian starter, guaranteed Canadian roster ratios. And that is a fact, and why CFL is not respected as a real professional three-down football league are fully supported. And I will ask you this: let's take the Toronto Maple Leafs or the Blue Jays, for instance. What if tomorrow they decided, okay, all right, the Jays and the Maple Leafs and the Montreal Canadiens and all the Canadian hockey teams and the Raptors, they want to have a Canadian ratio, and they were forced to start and play Canadian players, okay, a 7 starter ratio. They had to be Canadian, okay, and didn't matter if they were good enough to play, like in the CFL, start and play like it's happening in the CFL now, but they were forced to play them. And half the roster had to be Canadian. You think they would be in business today? You think their stands would be empty, or do you think they would be full? Okay? Okay, Mr. Ambrosi, answer that question. Okay? Yeah. All right. And I wanted to also say something really funny that came up. This Edmonton sports reporter was calling in, and on Oski Wee Wee podcast, okay? And they said the same thing. Oh, about Ambrosi's 2.0. I call him like Ambrosi's like 0 for 2, because he's been 0 for 2 for the last 2 years. But they were talking about Ambrosi's CFL 2.0, okay, 2.0, okay? And they were saying something really interesting. And the Edmonton sports reporter, okay? And the guys that do the Oski Wee Wee podcast on 3 Down Nation, it was unbelievable. They were really worried that Mr. Ambrosi was going to make a starter ratio spark for a Mexican player, and really worried, oh my God, it'd be awful. They said second rate, and it would be terrible to have a player on the CFL roster or on a starting position that wasn't near good enough, that had no business being on a CFL field. What a bunch of hypocrites. That's exactly what's happening in the CFL now with the Canadian ratio. Unbelievable. I couldn't believe it, man. Get your head examined. Man, examine. Seriously, come on. Get with the program. Unbelievable. Ambrosi also had a gag on out in the Canadian ratio. I'll tell you why. Because in his first year, he was on TSN radio in Toronto, and they asked him, when is the CFL finally going to allow the best American O-linemen to be recruited? Okay, all right, to play in the CFL to protect the star quarterbacks. Okay, and not guaranteed Canadian racial linemen that are being grossly overpaid, and they're overrated. They don't even belong in the CFL field, and they can't protect the CFL quarterback. And they said also, when are you going to allow the best available players in other positions to start and play in the CFL? Asked Mr. Ambrosi, and get rid of the Canadian ratio. Oh, he wouldn't go there, wouldn't talk about it. Yeah, you know, big snow job. Get a big snow job, just like he did when they asked him also. About the NFL being the CFL's major competition. You know what he said? No, it's not our major competition. The NFL's not our competition. The NFL's not your competition, Mr. Ambrosi. Oh, what about Grey Cup game when you lost 1 million viewers because they're watching NFL football and they're not your competition? Get with the program. Another big snow job of yours. The CFL, by the way, the NFL is the CFL's major competition. Get real. Okay? And get a sports brain. Seriously. Unbelievable. Glenn Souther, okay, and also said about Chris Jones leaving, and like, you know, sign an extension. The coach, the Saskatchewan Roughriders, to leave the next week and sign with the Cleveland Browns, okay? And he blamed that on Ambrosi and on the CFL, okay? And also, I wanted to remind you again what Mr. Nine said on the Green Zone. Okay, and he says something that I'll never forget. He says, "Look, I'm a rider and a CFL fan first. He said he couldn't care less." Mr. Nine said in the Green Zone, if any Canadian players were on the Saskatchewan Roughriders, long as he says I could watch the best available players starting and playing at every position for an entire CFL game. Okay? And that's what he wants to see, okay? And that's anybody with a sports brain wants to see in any professional sports league. So CFL, you say you're a professional football league? Well, start showing that you are. Start allowing the best available players to start playing the CFL, like every other professional sports league can, like the NFL, like the NHL, like Major League Baseball, like NBA, and yes, even MLS soccer, okay? If you want to be a player, you got to do the same, all right? Okay, we're flying along here. Okay? And 3 Down Nation, oh my gosh, Ambrosi. Did you read that, Ambrosi? 3 Down Nation, I'll read this to you. NFL playoff TV ratings through the roof. Last week's NFL, NFC, and AFC championship playoff games jumped more than 22% from the 2017 numbers. That's in Canada, compared to last year's CFL's Eastern and Western final viewership numbers that struggled like unbelievably. Okay, the Western final down 30% and the Eastern final down 50%. Can you imagine? And the Grey Cup game in Edmonton, like I said, down 23% in TV ratings, down 1 million viewers, the lowest since the 2001 Grey Cup. Never would have happened under Mark Cohen's watch, I'll tell you. The NFL ratings in Canada were also up 19% in Canada. And Brosi, you say the CFL's not your you say the NFL's not your competition? What are you smoking? I learned from my career that the importance and respect, trust, and integrity that you need to earn, which you, Mr. Ambrosi, didn't demonstrate to earn with the dealings I had with you in relation to my CFL Red Zone rule proposal, and an important survey I did that you didn't even acknowledge. Mr. Ambrosi, you need to earn respect and credibility. And okay, and by the way, your egotistical, pompous manipulation and deceitfulness, okay, you thought you could snow me with, but I could see right through it. And anybody with any sports brain or any respect at all for all the work I've done for 4.5 years in my CFL Red Zone rule, my 3.5 year survey I did, will also agree, because, you know, Mr. Ambrosi, you know, you're super, so okay, forget that one. Mr. Ambrosi, you were behind, we're behind, okay, yeah, I want to ask you something, Mr. Ambrosi. Were you behind the Canadian mob thing that Dave Dickinson rightfully yelled out? You know, so because to O'Shea and the coaches, Calgary Stampeder, the referees, when the Calgary Stampeders are being screwed in the Western Final by the refs, and when they had 2 touchdowns that were clearly touchdowns that were called back in penalties. Just wondering, because Ambrosi, you were from Winnipeg and played college football in Winnipeg, so maybe too, Ambrosi, you didn't want the Stampeders to go to the Grey Cup for the 3rd straight time, even though they're the best league in the CFL for 3 straight years, and one of the Blue Bombers to be in the 106th Grey Cup in Edmonton, and that the Stamps won, by the way. Just wondering if you were behind that, and you were part of that, what Dave Dickinson called the Canadian Mafia, Canadian Mafia. It's time to bring back Mark Cohen and as our commissioner, so we can have our CFL back, okay, our CFL game, the pride of our CFL game back. Okay, that was way more popular and way more credible and a lot more supported and respected when the CFL stadiums were full and viewership TV ratings were much higher and Grey Cups bigger, with a lot more Canadian sports fans watching the Grey Cup and CFL 3-down football in our country. And if Mark Cohen was still the commissioner, I can guarantee you, okay, that my CFL Red Zone rule would have been made part of our CFL 3-down game. And also, I can guarantee you the best available players would be starting and playing in the CFL like every other professional sports league can. And Mr. Ambrosi, if you wanted to be respected, act with some integrity, which you absolutely didn't do with my CFL Red Zone rule proposal, did you? Instead, we have a commissioner in Ambrosi that has been very political, with ties with the Canadian players and their basic Canadian Players Association, made up of carefully selected guaranteed Canadian ratio starting old linemen like yourself, Mr. Ambrosi, because he was one of them, belonged to the Canadian Players Association. this is obviously a huge conflict of interest here with Mr. Ambrosi, the Commissioner of the CFL, and it's transparent that the Canadian Players Association and the Canadian players, he has their best interests more than the best, what's best for the CFL and the owners and for the fans and for a 3-down game. There was something else, okay, also the importance, okay, it's very important, okay, because without the best and most talented available players starting and playing in the CFL, okay, my CFL Red Zone rule won't be as powerful in its impact, okay, as a new super exciting CFL rule that the CFL needs, and it really needs Spyder CFL Red Zone rule, and it needs the combo to allow the best available players to start and play in the CFL for an entire CFL game. Okay? Alright, I know I'm really excited, okay, and I was really hyped up, and you know, I really want to just keep rolling with this. Roll with the punches, okay? We got to stand tall, we're not going to fall. The CFL Red Zone rule is going to rise up. When I say our CFL Red Zone rule, because it belongs to you, the CFL fans, okay, and all the NFL and only fans out there, because we need your support, okay, and we need the younger generation of fans, okay, and we want to hear you all loud, okay, behind my CFL Red Zone rule at the Touchdown Atlantic in Halifax, hopefully, and in the 107th Grey Cup in Calgary, yelling loud in the Red Zone. We want Spyder CFL Red Zone rule. And for my big announcement, okay, at the end here, I'm going to be up on Facebook soon, okay? My son is going to help me with that. We're going to get up on Facebook with my CFL Red Zone rule with all kinds of information and photos and videos and everything and links to my CFL Red Zone rules, okay, sessions on YouTube. So take care, everybody out there. Enjoy a schooner beer. Come to Halifax. Hopefully the Atlantic Schooners, good luck to you, the Atlantic Schooners. It's been pretty quiet lately, okay? But you got to remember, Mark Cohen started that. He came to Halifax first, okay? Okay, and he's kickstarted the CFL franchise for Atlantic Schools in Halifax. So signing off. Take care. All the best to you. See you later. Spyder, here comes Spyder, CFL Red Zone rule. Spyder.